Hello everybody, welcome to the YouTube channel. This is a tutorial video about p53, okay, on p53, which is also known as the guardian of the genome for all the right reasons. So we'll be discussing in this YouTube video, in this tutorial video, on the role and the function in cell the p53 has in DNA in the DNA damage. Okay, when a cell, so in what happens when p53 undergoes mutation, and that leads to several types of cancers. Okay, we'll discuss why and how it happens and all those steps and okay, mechanisms. But this will be a very brief and short, brief, kind of a concise kind of a tutorial, not a very elaborate or descriptive type, just to give you information. That's this purpose of this video. Okay. So yeah, let's move on. So the first thing is we'll give you just an overview what we'll be discussing in this okay session or in this video. So we'll be discussing we'll give a short intro on cancer, okay? But and we'll be discussing on the what is tumor suppressor gene, its primary function, right? And what all are other functions that tumor suppressor genes do, and we will discuss on p53 primarily, okay, because it's a very important one of the most important tumor suppressor gene, and why it is so important we'll be discussing its major role in cell division, okay, sorry, cell okay, cell during that, yeah, so in cell division and in cell cycle arrest and DNA repair apoptosis, what role it has, okay. And we'll be discussing also the mutation, p53 mutation and cancer, the relation with this. Okay, what are the specific cancers that are caused? And we'll discuss about Life-Fromme syndrome, also a genetic syndrome. So let's move on. So the first thing is, what is cancer? So we all know cancer are a group of diseases, right, that are caused primarily by the abnormal cells, okay, and the division of, and that is caused by the cell division, okay, which divide uncontrollably, and they have ability to go and invade other tissues, nearby tissues, and okay, and they can spread to other parts of the body through your blood and lymphatic systems, okay. So there is also the cancers, majorly they originate. So the most reason is through genetic or epigenetic changes or transformations that occur. Okay, that leads to this persistent and unregulated proliferation. That's how cancer originates. Okay, so there are two terms that are interchangeably used when it comes to cancer. That is the mass of cells. So you call these abnormal mass of cells. Okay, so you have neoplasm and tumor. So neoplasm is just the abnormal proliferation of cells or tissues that arise from the unregulated growth and uncoordinated growth, okay, with surrounding tissue. And this mass of cells are persistent even if the original stimulus is removed. So the causes of neoplasm, okay, is genetic and epigenetic changes, okay. So you can't, it's not very, not always neoplasms are visible, okay. Then you have tumor. Tumor is the visible, visible mass of cells which is felt or detected. So this is that mass of cells which you detect, when you are not for cancer diagnosis and okay. Now it results. Now tumors can be malignant. It can be benign. Okay, so malignant ones are the precancerous ones that have the potentiality to turn cancerous. Okay, and it depends on the invasion and the metastasis capability of the cancerous cells. Okay, so what are the major characteristics of cancer? Okay, so one of that is the unregulated and uncontrolled cell growth. The next is the ability to invade and metastasis, okay, and they can destroy the surrounding tissue. And its ability to evade apoptosis, that's programmed cell death. Its ability to, like adapt and evolve also over time. That is so. These are some of the key features of cancer. Okay, so cancer can be caused due to various factors, right? So it can be due to inherited gene mutations. Okay. So that can be, so example for that is BRCA1 and 2 for breast cancer. Okay. So also there are certain genetic syndromes that syndrome, right, that occurs in due to the inherited gene mutations. So it can be deletion or insertion or something like that. So that leads to like a loss or gain in any kind of function. Then you have lifestyle factors like smoking, diet, okay, alcohol. Then there are environmental exposures. So what kind, like the pollutants, what kind of environmental pollutants which you expose daily, the chemicals, the radiation, it can, which is like ionizing radiation or nuclear radiation, right, which you have been exposed to, right? That also can lead to cancer. Then certain biological agents can also cause cancer, like viruses like HPV, hepatitis B and C. They all have known to cause cancer. Then if there is any kind of chronic inflammation, or if there is imbalances that happen in your hormones, that also can lead to development of cancer. So yeah. Now let's go on to see what is tumor suppressor genes, which we have been talking about. So, tumor suppressor genes are basically genes that regulate and they restrain the cell division. Okay, that is the and they prevent the uncontrolled cell growth. So they help the cell to live on and survive, and help the cell to maintain the healthy environment. Okay, so the genes, these basically genes will help reduce that possibility. So if even if there are cells that are mutated, okay, but these particular genes will reduce or stop or suppress or prevent the ability for those particular mutated cells to become cancerous. So that's the main function and the main role of these cells, and that's why, sorry, main role, not of cells, sorry, of genes. Okay, and why that is why it's no, it's like an important defender of no, of the genome. Okay, now they basically they form like a network of checkpoints that prevent uncontrolled cell growth. So one example is retinoplasma, okay, RB and p53. So what are the main function it has? What are the other functions? How do they actually regulate or control this unproliferation, this proliferation of cells, and how do they make sure that the cells are healthy and they are not, they don't undergo cancer? So one is the control, they can control mitogenic signaling, okay, and that prevents prevents giving signals for further cell growth, okay. They can control cell cycle progression, so they can regulate checkpoints. They can have cell cycle arrest in whenever the DNA is damaged. So this is the major way through which p53 works. It can maintain the stability of genome, okay. It can by repairing the DNA, and it can promote uh, apoptosis, can activate apoptosis, okay, when if the damage to that DNA is irreversible and the cells have to be removed. So tumor suppressor gene can be categorized into caretaker and gatekeeper genes. Gatekeeper genes include are the genes that function like a transcription factor and transcription regulator. Okay, so that example is p53. Okay, you have caretaker genes, which so caretaker genes are the ones that are involved in the DNA repair process, and okay, they are involving the BRCA1 and BRCA2. Okay, it's the fifth. So the gatekeeper genes are the ones that are responsible for preventing the proliferation of cells, proliferation in regulating cell division and all, cell cycle and all that. Now, if there is a loss or if there is an inactivation of tumor suppressor genes, then that can lead to the removal of the controls or regulatory controls, control systems. Okay, so this makes the cells, so it enables cells to accumulate and divide without any kind of regulation. So it progress and develops into cancer. Now moving on, we have p53, which is the no, guardian of the genome. So why it is called guardian of the genome? What are its functions? So it is located at the short arm of chromosome 70. Okay. And the major function, it can activate DNA repair proteins, okay, where the DNA has been undergone damage. It can arrest the cell cycle at particular and hold it at particular cell cycle regulation point, and particularly at the growth 1 phase, uh, growth 1 phase and the synthesis phase. So this particular regulation point that is there in cell cycle, it is regulated, it is held by this p53. So that will hold it, and whenever there is a damage to the DNA, so in that, and okay, in that, and it will wait, or keep it long. We keep that, uh, keep the cell cycle arrested for enough time, so it will make sure that, so that the DNA repair proteins can come and fix the damage. So in case the damage is irreversible, then those cells are removed through, they are, they are undergone apoptosis. So that is important, that is programmed cell death, so that these cells don't potentially become turn into cancer. Another role it has, it regulates senescence. Okay, so it can induce permanent growth arrest. Okay, it can stop the cells from dividing infinitely and generating tumorous cell masses. It can also regulate metabolism. Okay, so these are some, and this, so it maintains the health of cells. So that's why it is, no, you call as the garden of the genome. So how does it actually regulate? How does it actually play a role in cell, where there is a damage in DNA? So, okay, so when the DNA is damaged, it triggers activation of the p53 through phosphorylation. Okay, and that leads to the level rise in p53. Okay, and that will in turn cause the cell cycle to be arrested by targeting specific genes like p21. So p53 works majorly like a transcription factor. Okay, so it will go and bind to a specific DNA sequence, and it will stop the function of that particular gene, and that is basically, it influences the gene expression. So it has a direct control. It directly goes and stops the function of the cell cycle involving genes. Okay, so this will allow the DNA repair proteins to come and fix the damage. So if that damage can't be, as I told you, irreversible, it will p53 can also go, it will activate apoptosis, the genes involved in apoptosis, and that will come and lead to programmed cell death. So this is why, and this in turn, so this prevents the propagation of those mutated cells. So hence it's called the garden of genome, because it's protecting your genome. Okay, so whenever there is any mutation that happens in your genome, okay, the p53 is the central or the critical tumor suppressor gene that is involved in making sure that any these damaged DNA, or cells having any damage or any kind of problem, okay, or any kind of stresses, that these damage is fixed first. Okay, there it's make sure, it will make sure it is fixed. It will make sure that the cell cycle doesn't continue, move on, without any regulation, and which will give you, lead to more and more cancers, damage of the DNA and lead to cancer. Okay, it will basically, it helps in the repair process. It helps in removing any of the damaged cells, damaged DNA or damaged cells. So it makes sure there is nothing there that is bad for the cells. So in this, in turn, this is why it's called the guardian of the genome, and it is always working. Okay, so this is a critical checkpoint. So this is the, so it makes sure that that's why you don't encounter cancer all the time. Okay, so that is, so this is the major reason why you call it as the garden of the genome. Okay, so that is also reason why when p53 gets mutated, and it's a p53 is the 50% of all human cancers, they're caused because of the mutation happening to p53, and that can be either through mutations, it can be because of deletion or insertion. So that leads to the loss or gain in function, okay, of that particular gene. So if that happens, then the ability of the p53 to prevent cell cycle arrest, okay, it is disrupted. All these functions are disrupted. Okay, cell cycle arrest, DNA repair, apoptosis, all are, all of those functions can get affected. And then when they are affected, so that leads to, uh, you know, gaining of oncogenic functions, that is cancer producing or cancer generation functions, and that will in turn promote tumors progression. It leads to aggressiveness in the invasion and metastasis. It also leads to resistance to therapy, which is the chemotherapy and radiation. That is a major obstacle when it comes to p53 mutation and the cancer. So p53, so loss or inactivation, that is a major, or the deletion if it happens of this particular p53, or it is activated, there's a gain of function. Okay, in these are the major major ways that p53 gets mutated. So if p53 gene gets mutated, the major cancer that gets developed or progression of cancer is breast cancer. So p53 is the most frequently mutated in case of breast cancer. Okay, around 20 to 30%. So this is because it, as I told you, there is a mutation happening in the binding domain of p53. So this is the area that goes and binds. This is the binding transcription binding area of p53 that gets affected. So when that is affected, then it doesn't go and bind, so it can't do the transcriptional activity. So it leads to the loss of its tumor suppressive function. So that will and this mutated p53 can activate, or they can interfere with other proteins. Okay, and they can activate several other oncogenic pathways. They can contribute to tumor aggressiveness. They can evade, they can stop apoptosis, as I told you, and they also lead to poor clinical outcomes. So most of the time, individuals with this particular mutation, they don't survive. These mutated proteins are especially relevant in the case of triple negative breast cancer. Okay, so that's why this is very serious, and it can also cause other cancers also. p53 mutation. It's known to cause lung cancer, various other kind of cancers, right? Ovarian, all those cancers, collateral, all that. Like-Fromme syndrome is an important genetic syndrome that we have to discuss. It's a hereditary cancer syndrome that you have because of a mutation happening in the germline. Okay, uh, germline mutation in this particular p53 gene. Okay, and that results in having multiple cancers. So you don't have one cancer, you have multiple cancers in every part, or any or every almost all organ. Okay, you will be those individuals will be developing cancers. So it can include breast cancers, sarcomas, brain tumors, all that. Okay, and in young individuals, okay, primarily. So yeah, this is a very serious syndrome, or a specific cause, the specific outcome, that, or specific condition that occurs because if p53 gets mutated earlier. Okay, so what is the so in conclusion, we can say that p53 is very important, a critical tumor suppressor gene. The reason is because it preserves the genomic integrity by holding the proliferation of damaged cells. It repairs the DNA. It triggers cell death. It can, so, and whenever there is a mutation in p53, it leads to the loss or inactivation. So that removes the control systems, and it may, in turn leads to the cancer development. So p53 driven cancers, they require therapeutic strategies. You need personalized medicines, okay, and combined therapies to overcome this resistance and provide a proper healthcare and clinical trials. Okay, so I hope this is our end of the session. So I hope you like the session. So there'll be even more videos coming. So okay, yeah, thank you.